Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Freedom Family Call. I'm excited to lean in with you guys. Sarah and I had some fun earlier today putting things together for you. And as tradition, I want us to start. It is speaker view. As tradition, I want us to start celebrating. So as I kick things off and start talking, I want you to be posting in the chat a win from this week in your business or in your personal journey. We need to be focusing on these things, and this is going to go straight into what I want to talk to you guys about first off. But if we're not able to collect our record of what's going well, it's really hard for us to go forward in our business and in our personal journey, because we become experts on our weaknesses, and then when we focus on them all the time, we never get to develop our strengths and grow faster and in the direction we want to go. John Maxwell always said, and I remember when he said it, I was like, what? But then he's right. He's like, we focus so much on trying to fix our weaknesses. What we really should do is focus on our strengths. And if we focus on our strengths, our weaknesses will naturally get better, or you outsource them. So, I think so many times we focus on the things we don't do well. At least I do, and it gets us caught up. And so tonight, Sarah and I are excited to share with you guys a little bit about building your team and offering the gift, because we have our coach sneak peek coming up. We have moved it. It's not this Sunday. We're giving one more week of inviting. So it will be on the last Sunday of the month, the 29th. For those that are local, the 27th, there's the Wine and Why at my house. If you are driving distance, you're welcome to come and crash on a sofa. Always available. And like Sarah said, you can scavenger hunt around my house and find little trinkets from my childhood. So if you are not local, I want to encourage you to find coaches close by and get together for coffee, get together for a workout every once in a while. So yes, I love it. I love it. 3 workouts this week and a shake so far. That's awesome. Speaking more confidently about what I'm doing and encourage someone to try out BOD. That's awesome. 4 workouts this week and nutrition right on track. Yeah. 4 full power hours plus planned for my week. Girl, way to go. Had more yeses than I expected. Working out daily, hitting water goal daily, plugged into PD daily. Y'all, these are awesome. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. So here's the deal. In this business, in coaching, it truly is a gift. And one of the things I think that holds us back from building our business, or if you're in this community, for the community, from focusing on our goals in our personal journey and tapping into the community, is something called imposter syndrome. And when I signed up to do Hey Girl Academy, which is the Instagram course that I'm taking right now, and Angela's taking it too, the first lesson that she had us do was on imposter syndrome. And as I was listening to it, I first thought imposter syndrome was kind of, I don't know, like feeling like a fraud because you're always looking at your faults, feeling like a fraud because you keep a record of wrong. And that is part of it. But the other part of imposter syndrome, when I was re-listening to the video, is doubting your accomplishments in the first place as that you actually did them. Imposter syndrome affects your ability because you think you lost 2 pounds on a fluke because you just happened to drink enough water that day, instead of giving yourself credit that you're tracking 2B mindset faithfully 85% of the time and seeing progress. Or imposter syndrome says, I hit Success Club, but man, I didn't do anything. People just came to me. It was kind of luck, and I don't know if I could ever do that again. Instead of realizing that you share your journey consistently, people noticed and came to you, which is a huge blessing. And what happens is imposter syndrome causes us to doubt our accomplishments. So we're afraid to invite anybody into this, because what if people find out that we're a fraud? What if they find out that we're not really that good at losing weight, if that's our goal, because we struggle with food? What if they find out that, we miss our workouts every once in a while, and we don't do one-armed burpees perfectly like Jericho? What if they find out that you only make $250 a month, or you've only had one challenger? Imposter syndrome is a lot of times what's called the inner mean girl. And what it is it's completely focusing on fear that is all based in, like, the fear really is in growing. Because if you choose to invite anyway and say, pull rank on the imposter and say, you don't, that's not true, then you have to let it go. You can't hold on to it anymore. And I know for me, that's something that I wrestle with sometimes, because, you know, when we share our lives, we are not perfect, but who wants a perfect coach? Rarely anyone. Like, when I look for a mentor or someone to help me grow, I want them to be learning, growing, failing, getting back up, learning, growing. I don't want someone who thinks they've got it all together, because that's not real. And so the very things that you're doubting about yourselves and not giving yourself credit, the part that's so dangerous is you actually facilitate that perfectionism then in your home life, in your friendships, and in your business. And it's almost where people are afraid to say, like, I made $200 this week. If anyone got a paycheck this week, post it in the thread. Post it in the thread. You don't have to say how much you made, but anyone who made money this month, post it in the thread. You should not be ashamed of that. You should not be ashamed of that. If you cycled this week, post it in the thread. You should not be ashamed of that. If you lost weight, post it in the thread. I remember one time feeling embarrassed that I had hit my goal weight and I didn't want to share it because I didn't want to make anyone feel bad who hadn't hit theirs yet. But I'm a coach who's working on the goal. And it was perfectionism, because what if I gain it back? Well, I might gain a few pounds here or there. That's part of the ride. You know what I'm saying? And so imposter syndrome, a lot of times I hear it when it's like, well, I want to invite people to be on my team, but I haven't made a whole lot of money yet, so I don't really feel like I should invite. But the way you make money in this business is inviting people in and helping them start their business. So it's a way that we self-protect. And it prevents us from showing up as our full, authentic self. It prevents you from sharing parenting tips because you know the other day you yelled at your kids. It prevents you from talking about how to eat healthier because you know you ate donuts on Sunday. It prevents you from sharing about how coaching has blessed your life because you just got your first paycheck that was $28 from cycling 2 times. And you're embarrassed someone's going to ask you how much that you made, and you're going to tell them and they're going to be like, that's it. It's really self-shaming yourself. And it really holds us back when actually all of those things are huge accomplishments. And like, we're human beings who make mistakes. Hell yeah, that's it. Yes. You know, what she talked about here is that imposter syndrome, the inner mean girl. I actually was thinking of the scripture where Jesus was like in the desert for 40 days and he was about to enter into ministry. When he was there preparing for something huge. And when we're working daily on our goals, whether it's in our fitness or in our business and preparing for something huge, right before it's about to start is when this gets loudest. When you hear all those lies in your mind, it's actually a signal that you're in a very serious phase of big growth that's either happening or about to happen. And the only way to get there is to tell the voice the truth and to pull rank. You don't have to engage in it and dialogue in it. And I noticed it because when we came out of Summit, I signed up for Hey Girl Academy and I signed up for one-on-one coaching with Brad Bizjack, who's as a business mindset coach. It was a lot of financial investment. And August and September in the business are good months, but they're not as good as other months in the business. And so the imposter in me started saying, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. You shouldn't even do sneak peeks into coaching. You've been doing this for 6 years, Kelly, and you think you can help people? Like all of this stuff legit. And so I think it's very funny that this is what we're talking about tonight, because before I got on this call, the mean girl was loud all afternoon. And as I sat here before I got on the call with y'all tonight, I was like praying, like, Lord, I just want to do this. Like, I have my goals here. I have my family here. I have this here. This is so important to me. And I felt like he was like, do it, like step into it. I could have very easily called Sarah and said, I can't do it. I'm really sorry. Like, I'm having a rough day with my oldest. It's been kind of a taxing afternoon. Can you please cover for me? But that would be letting imposter syndrome win. And that's not the mom I want to be or the coach I want to be. So I'm telling you here too, 6 years in, I still have it. But I know it's loud, and I know that God called us to talk about it tonight because a lot of us are close to that breaking point where we're having a breakthrough, whether that's in our personal journey, in our business journey. And so what do you do? How do you tackle it? Number one, you have to own your success. Every Thursday, our team page, Thankful Thursday, should have 125 thankfuls. Now, your husbands don't have to post, so maybe 115. But it should be thankful. You need to have a gratitude, at least one. We were sitting around the dinner table tonight, and my kids were like, not thankful for anything. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I don't care. Like, it could be anything. I talked to somebody about the business. I've never done it before. Start small, but celebrate the full out of it because you're making adjustments, and that pushes that imposter syndrome and tells it the truth. The second is to keep providing value anyway. If you're struggling right now and learning how to overcome negative mindset, as you're learning, teach it. You don't have to master it. Now, you don't need to go on the day you're having a meltdown and go live and be a hot mess. But teach what you're learning as you go and learn out loud. Yes. If you're learning about food and you're doing the ultimate portion fix, teach things. If you're learning about whatever it is, learn out loud. You're growing a business and you're learning and you're scared and you're nervous, but you're excited. Talk about the business. The third thing is to collect your wins. If you're not doing this already, it's something that I fall in and out of as a habit, but it's the best seasons of my life is when I daily start with 5 things that I did really well that day. And if you struggle with seeing them in your business, then you need to write them for your business. Or if you struggle them seeing in your personal journey, you need to say them in your personal journey. I drank my water today. I got up early and prayed. I did my workout. I sent out 5 invites. I was on the team call. 5 wins. And you keep that record of right, and it starts to show you evidence of why you can take ownership for your success. And that's not egotistical for you to do that. If anything, it is like humility is saying not I stink. It's just recognizing that you are doing this because you get to serve others. You can show up humbly and not be, bragging full of yourself. It's honesty. Thank you. I was like looking for a word. The fourth thing is to acknowledge when it comes up. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to ignore it. Don't try to pretend like it's not there. If you have a success partner or your coach or someone, just tell them. You don't need therapy to deal with it, but it's good to tell someone out loud, like name her. My mean girl's name is Shelly. She's up. She's being loud. I just need to tell somebody and then shut her down. Pull rank. That's still one of my favorite things that Sarah ever said. And then the last thing I was going to say to do is to ditch the all or nothing mentality, because the number one thing, and that's the second part that I'm going to talk about before Sarah talks more about building your team, is what feeds imposter syndrome is an all or nothing mentality. Because what happens is when we're all or nothing, we just collect the nothing. We collect all the times we didn't do it. We collect all the times we fell short. We collect all the times we missed the goal, instead of recognizing all the times you did it right. And so, we have to get rid of that mentality. It's so deep rooted in our culture that the next few weeks team calls literally are all going to be about things and tools to help you understand things, to help you pace yourself. And so that's even for tonight. But we get afraid of success being too much before we even reach it. And we get afraid of failing so much that we don't try. And so what you have to do to overcome this, and this is what's going to lead into like inviting to your team and inviting to this opportunity, is owning your business like a business. You decide your goals and they need to align with your season. You decide how you're going to track, and you track because it's what you do. If you want to lose weight, you track your food. If you want to grow a business, you track your business. You decide that you're going to celebrate out loud what you're doing by celebrating in the group on Thursday in their team page, by recognizing when coaches share stuff in our team on Thursday, you could screenshot it or make a little word swag and shout those things out like in your stories and share with other people what is going on in our team. You can do it with your challenge groups. It's proof. It's like a book of proof that you're sharing. It's evidence of the good that's happening, and it's celebrating. And when you do that, you overcome all or nothing because you're spitting out all the evidence of the all that's going on instead of the nothing. And then, you have to lean into the community. If you isolate, it gets really hard for you to navigate. So the big thing I want to talk to y'all about as I want to hand it over to Sarah is that a lot of times the reason we're not inviting to coaching or we're not inviting to our challenge groups, but tonight we're going to focus specifically on coaching, is because we think we're not enough. And it's because we've been either 10Xing it or nothing. So my challenge to you after this call, if you haven't already, is we're heading into fourth quarter. Pick a pace for your season and commit to it for 90 days. 90 days, not 30, 90. If after 30 days you're like, well, I'm doing 2, 2, and 2, I think I can up it to 3, that's okay. But consistency for 90 days and own it. Or pick your program, pick your nutrition, whatever it is. Commit for 90 days because the best way to beat imposter syndrome is to be doing the things that is building the record of right. And you can say I am statements till you're like blue in the face, but if you're not taking action daily the way you know you need to be, then you are going to feel like a fraud. You can say like, I am the CEO of my business and never open your binder, and then you're going to feel like a fraud. So let the words that come out of your mouth agree with your actions. And when you do that, then Sarah's going to talk about when you go to talk to people about coaching or you invite them to the challenge group, you have a confidence that helps them trust you. And then you grow more because you ask someone to trust you. And there's this like mutual trust that happens and you have the evidence of right. And instead of the whole like, well, I'll invite when I make $500 a month. Well, you gotta have to invite to make $500 a month. You know what I mean? And it is scary, but you're doing it as a team. And we're all evidence that it works because we're here. So those are the two things I kind of wanted to speak about tonight. I'm going to let Sarah take over because she's going to talk a little bit about owning your business as a business and then who you look for to invite to your team.
So we've been talking, when Kelly and I were brainstorming, we were talking about like what gets in our way when we're inviting. And that's why Kelly was talking at first about the imposter syndrome and that all or nothing concept. But I think that the third thing that kind of gets in people's way is not actually viewing it like a business, not actually making yourself the CEO of this business. We say it a lot, and I'll admit it starts to sound cliche to me because I've never been the CEO of a brick and mortar company that I had to go to. So I don't really know what that is like. And it seems very high stakes and high pressure and lots of work and lots of hours and lots of time before you get to be that. And so I'll admit that that title at first didn't resonate super well with me because I didn't really know what that meant. It didn't feel familiar to me. But when I look at this now, and the big transition that's happened to me is viewing this like just as much of a job as any other job that I've had. Except it's elevated because it's my life and it is not something that I have to go to 40 hours a week. It's not something that I have to go to outside of my house or do with a bunch of people that I don't want to do it with. And, like I have more control over those pieces of it. And that's the CEO part. That's the control part of this business. But I know because I see it and I did it. People don't feel good and they're not feeling peppy, so they don't post on social media. They're not feeling social, so they don't follow up on conversations. They're not feeling good about themselves, so they don't share their wins. And in that way, you have to view it like, and if you are not a business builder listening to this call, that's okay. There's something in here that you can take away from this, because you're still inviting people to something that you have been blessed by. But I'm speaking specifically in this moment to the people who say that they want a rank or an income or a team or whatever it is that you are shooting for as a business goal. That means that you have to show up. When I was a teacher, I taught mostly 7th and 8th grade English, but I taught 4th grade right at the end. But it doesn't matter what age you're teaching or if you're a nurse or whatever. If you don't feel like it, you still have to be nice to the kids. I still had to go to school when I had a headache, because it was more work to not go to school than to just go to school sick. Really. You know, if you're a nurse, you still have to listen to your patients and take care of them, even when your kids were jerks in the morning or whatever, like you still have to do your job. And so the good news is doing my job when I'm efficient and on it only takes about an hour and a half out of my day. I don't have to show up for 8 hours, but I have to show up even when I don't feel like it, because this is my business. This is my business, and there will be no business if I don't do it. So if you are not feeling your power hours, then you're not working your business. It's like if you had a store and you only opened when you felt like it. When you were, if you ran a grocery store and you only opened your doors when you were having a good day, you'd go to business, all your food would spoil, everything, and the good news is you don't have that much high stakes. You don't have that much investment monetarily in this business. It cost you $40 to start an entire business. And sometimes Summer talks about this, and I didn't understand it at first, but I do a little bit more now. When you have so little in it to begin with, you tend to set it aside when you don't feel like it. But I think Kelly's a good example of this tonight, having a rough day with her kids and still showing up. I remember being on calls with Summer when the world was falling apart. She took a deep breath and still did the call. If we were to go through everybody, like Tasha shared one of her wins in the chats about not losing it when one of her kids had a meltdown and still showing up, right? Because this is your staff meeting. You can't just not go. Now, there's a little more forgiveness in this because you are the CEO of your own business. And if you don't go to the staff meeting, then you don't go to the staff meeting. But I can tell you that it has a negative impact on your business, because it has a negative impact on your belief. It has a negative impact on your confidence. And when you have distance between connecting with the group, between times of connecting with the group, that's when that voice starts to get louder, right? So I had a similar experience to Kelly, because I also invested in my own business development in this season. And I second guessed it all the way up until, this morning, because it was a lot of money and we don't have it. And so, but I believe that it's necessary. And I'm watching people who are achieving at the level that I want to achieve at. And they are saying, you have to have a mentor. You have to do this. You have to make this investment. You have to, go this route. And so I did it. And I believe in it, but it's really hard. And in a conversation I had with him about the, some call it that inner mean girl. He's a man, so he talked about it a little bit differently, but he talked about just your literal ego, like as in Freudian ego, not as in inflated arrogance, but your literal ego being there to protect you in your primal sense. So at the beginning of time, when it was keeping the, wolves from eating your babies, we don't have that now, but our fears and our concerns are just that big. They're just not quite that real, but it's still really that feeling. And what he said is that voice, that ego is trying to protect you. And so telling it the truth, but also reminding that ego, giving it a name to disassociate from it, but reminding it that you don't need it anymore. Praise the Lord, I don't have to worry about wolves snatching my baby out of its bed in the middle of the night. I don't have to. I can go to sleep and we're safe and it's fine. And I can say to my ego, like, we're good. I don't need you to protect me. I'm not going to lose everything if I invite this person and they say no. Because in my mind, the fear associated with inviting is the same as the fear associated with a wolf stealing my baby out of its bed. Because that's all my primal brain has to concern itself with now, right? And so that was a little bit of a tangent, but just to say to you, like, this is your business. And I've said to different people on different occasions, like, I'm not feeling like I can work today, whatever. If you were working at a brick and mortar job, is this something you would call off for? You had a family member die, you don't have to work your business today. You have a little bit of a headache, suck it up and work your business. You know what I mean? Like, are you going to call off work because you're sad? Probably not. You're going to take a deep breath and you're going to be sad and you're going to really feel that feeling and you're going to deal with it. And really remember, you're not going to work for 8 hours. You're going to work for about 90 minutes. Maybe if you're really pushing to build a business, you get to spend 90 minutes. If you're just getting started, or if you're working at more of like the hobby end of things, you don't get 90 minutes. It doesn't take 90 minutes to build that. You get 30 minutes. You suck it up. You have a headache. You take some, take a deep breath, drink some water, and you work your business for 30 minutes. And then you deal with all the things. I mean, that's the freedom that comes along with it. You get to deal with all those things. And I say that, that's a little bit of tough love, but I want that to be in your head the next time you feel like not working your business, because I can almost guarantee you that 9 out of 10 times, it's that negative voice in your head that's telling you not to work. It's not a real illness or a real obstacle. It's just that fear or that primal ego trying to protect you. And what you need to do is learn to recognize it, because that's not going to stop. You've got millions of years of human history behind you. You are not going to silence your ego overnight. But you can learn to recognize it, give it a name, and remind it that you don't need it anymore. So that then you can look at things and you can look objectively. So I'm transitioning into the next phase of our call and saying, like, we're going to talk about more of why inviting is important and why inviting particularly to your team is the one thing that can have the biggest impact on your business. Okay. So I was looking at the end of last month at my goals, most of them with about a week and a half left of the month I hadn't hit yet. I had an SC goal. I had a financial goal. I had a team goal. I hit diamond. That was one of my goals. And I did do that. And I was like laughably far from my SC goals, but I was looking at it and I was asked the question, like, okay, looking at your goals, what are the things on that list that would have the biggest impact on your overall mission in life? And I was like, oh, that's a big question. Like not just business, like your overall mission in life. Well, I had to stop and think about that. I had to stop and think, okay, my team has a name and we're driven by the sense of that, this concept of having a purpose, this concept of being created with a purpose, for a purpose, on purpose, like all of that. What is it on my list of goals that is the most important through the filter of that life mission? Well, frankly, it's adding to my team. Because if I had challengers, let's just break this down. So I have an SC goal, I have a financial goal, I have a team goal, I had some other personal goals, those kinds of things. So if I shut my doors and I don't open my business and all I do is work on my nutrition and my workouts, that's great. But does that further my vision of everyone I come in contact with understanding that they have a purpose? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So it's still good, but it's not the highest in terms of the vision I have for my life. Okay. What about, hitting SC? It was SC 20 and I was at 0, just to give you some perspective. Okay. Could I pound it and invite every single person on the planet to see if I can hit that? Right? Well, I could. It probably would neglect my children in a serious way. And I wouldn't be able to have the depth of conversation that I really want to have with people, to have really, truly life-changing moments with them. So again, not the highest thing in terms of my vision for my life. But my goal was to add 4 new people to my team last month. And I'll tell you, by the end of the month, we added 3. So we got very, very close. Now, when I focused in on that and I said, what's my vision? What's my vision for my life? And which of my goals does that? If someone joins my team, it means that I've had enough conversation with them that they start seeing their value in what they have to offer to the rest of the world. And I can spread my vision farther because they know people that I don't know. But in a real business literal sense, now I'll tell you, it did not pan out this way because it just so happens that I didn't get any SC points from the coaches who signed up, which is fine. But typically that's not the case. Typically, if I invite people to my team, SC points come from it. There's a monetary compensation that comes from it. And there's a team building compensation that comes from it. So one thing has now impacted 3 business goals and has met the filter, has gone through the filter of my mission in life. So that's where I put my focus for the last week and a half of the month. It doesn't mean I stopped inviting to challenge groups. It doesn't mean I stopped working out. It doesn't mean I stopped journaling and doing my gratitude. It doesn't mean I stopped attending team meetings, but it means if I'm going to do anything, I'm inviting everyone who's breathing to my team. Right? And I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but I invited a lot of people because it shifts your thinking from bugging people to join you to really offering an opportunity. You guys, this is incredible what we get to be part of. You get to work on your own health and fitness so that you can serve the people around you. You get to build up something inside of you that you then can offer to others. And then you get to do that for other people. You get to give them something that fills their cup and allows them to serve others. Because I know none of you are new enough that you don't honestly think that all we're doing is losing weight here, right? None of you think that that's just what we do. If you do, you haven't been paying attention, because there's so much more to it than that. And what you're offering somebody is a piece of that. And when I talk about the big mission for my life, it's not an exaggeration, because I have gotten it through this opportunity. And I believe that I can give it to others through this opportunity. So now I'm not bugging people to join my team. And frankly, I love it. I don't even remember, Kelly, when it came up, but there was something that somebody asked Kayla, like when they get met with, are you just friending me so that you can sell me something? And her response is something along the lines of like, look, we just met. I don't know you well enough to know whether or not I'm going to invite you to my team. And it's like, ooh, because I get to pick who I work with. Now, I've never said no to anybody. Like I've never told somebody they couldn't buy a challenge pack, but there are never people when I saw a need I didn't invite, because I've also seen so much change in people who had no faith in God, who now have a close relationship with God through this team. I've seen people who were super negative and had nothing good to say about anything, who are now positive and forward-thinking people. So I think that when I say I get to pick who I work with, I've really never turned anyone away. But this is my business. This is my company, and I get to drive the mission of it. And frankly, this hasn't happened and it's not going to happen, but let's just play a big fat what if. If Kelly took a strange turn and I didn't like the direction she was going, I don't have to be part of it anymore. I get to do my own thing, and I can take my ball and go home if I need to. Now, again, I don't fear that. I'm not concerned about that. I don't think that's going to happen, and she's pretty much stuck with me. Yeah. But I could. Or whoever, or if Rebecca Bain did something bizarre and we decided, I'm not worried about that either. But do you hear what I'm saying? Like, this is my vision. This is my vision and the people that I'm bringing into it, and then helping them develop their vision so they can move out. And I think we get caught up in this prefab order. You know, we need to be, oh, good grief, Penn State football. Don't even get me started on that. We get caught up in this prefab order of like, I've got to be a challenger, then I've got to get results, then I've got to be a coach. And when I'm a coach, I have to have this amount of success before I can start inviting and blah, blah, blah. And Kelly's right. You don't get success if you're not inviting. It doesn't work that way. But in addition to that, it's good to have people who believe in your mission, but that doesn't have to be a set order. So when you're looking for somebody to invite, you're looking for a need, and you're looking for people that you want to be surrounded with. So when I'm inviting, I'm looking at for two different things. I'm listening for two different things. And don't be afraid to offer someone a job. Frankly, these days, if somebody turns me down for a challenge pack because of finances, I usually invite them to coaching. Because you're offering them a job. You're offering them an opportunity, and hearkening back to it's really a business and I'm the CEO, you have an opening. You have a spot that they could, not a spot they could fill, because that sounds a little different, but you know what I'm saying? Like you are offering them an opportunity to, I mean, I very literally bought groceries and gas with my paycheck today. I got paid today, ordered groceries, and sent Ben with money to buy gas. And so you are offering that to someone else. If someone is struggling to pay their bills, you are offering them an opportunity to make the money to bless their family, and not to be afraid to say it that way. I have said, have you ever considered, I know this sounds crazy because we haven't even done a challenge group together yet, but you were talking about how you're struggling financially and that's why you can't invest in your own health and fitness. What if you joined my team as a coach? I know, again, and I've said, I know that sounds crazy, but bear with me for a second. You would still get to work on your own health and fitness journey, and you get to bless other people in the process, and you'd get to contribute to your family's finances. And that's the kind of confidence and the kind of language that you get to use as the owner of your company. If you are the owner of a company, a brick and mortar company, and you didn't believe it, if you were watching Carl Deichler and he was skeptical, like, oh, we're coming out with this new program. I mean, I like it, but I don't know if it'd be good for you. Really? Like, come on. Like, they don't talk like that. And you are in that position. It's scaled a little bit differently, but you are the owner of that, and you are inviting people into that. And it's important for you to remind yourself of that. That's that collection of wins that Kelly was talking about at the beginning, and fighting that imposter syndrome that keeps you from, it invalidates your wins and makes you think it's just a fluke. Those are the kinds of things that you need to be actively on guard against, so that you can hear the person who's looking for something, so that you can hear the person who has that need. Because yes, your rock star challenger should always get an invite to coaching. Always. And they might say no, and that's okay, but they should always get an invite to coaching. Anyone who's encouraging other people in your challenge group should always get an invite to coaching. Yeah. Someone who bought a challenge pack at the end of the month should always get an invite to coaching. But I don't lead with the discount anymore, because there's something that that person can offer to the next person, and you get to speak that life over them. So what we say to you now is you have a good thing that you can offer to the next person. And now what you say is, this is something that you can join in because you've been blessed by it. And I've started asking in my challenge groups, just straight up asking, you know, can you think of anybody who would be blessed by this opportunity? Can you think of anybody that would be blessed by getting what you have gotten out of this? And there's been some business that's come out of that. But what I'm really trying to do is get them thinking about who they could invite once they're a coach, and to remind them that, like, this is not a scary, icky thing. You are passing on the blessing. Yeah, Sarah, there isn't anybody. I mean, honestly, that's the approach that I have now. There isn't anyone who wouldn't be blessed by this in some way, shape, or form. That person just doesn't exist. There is not anyone who would not be blessed by the love and support of the women on this call. There is not anyone who wouldn't be encouraged to do better, to grow more, to sharpen their own strengths, and frankly, be told that they're more than their weaknesses. There isn't anybody who wouldn't benefit from that. So you're looking at two different kinds of people when you're inviting. And I want you to really think about that. Who do I know who has a need? As in, they need a job. They need some income. Or they need something that's their own. They need something. No, this person is drowning in motherhood, and motherhood is wonderful. But I would really be hard pressed to find somebody who at some point didn't feel like they were drowning in motherhood a little bit. And this is something that could give them a solid foot and feel like they're having a positive impact when their children are I'm sorry, Sarah, I know that you're pregnant. I'm sure your baby will be wonderful and will never tell you that they hate you. But for the rest of us, you know, like, yeah, it's hard. It's hard. And sometimes you just need a thing that reminds you of your humanity and reminds you that you can have a positive impact on the world when your tiny little army that is railing against you is really loud. Forget the mean girl. I have like a little army of like terrorists that all came out of me. And they're loud sometimes. See? They're loud sometimes. And I need something. What, you need to go to bed. You're also naked, and this is a recorded call. Anyway, you need something that is yours, and you are offering that to them. And it's something that doesn't take away from their family. Again, I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody on our team whose family hasn't been blessed by this. We can talk monetarily, but I mean, seriously, friends, my family got a more positive mom. My family got a smarter mom. My family got a more even-tempered mom. My family got a mom with a greater sense of value. My family got a mom with a greater sense of purpose, a greater understanding of nutrition, a greater understanding of how bodies work. I mean, all of that came from this, and that's what you're offering to the next person. So you're looking for someone who has a need, but then you're also, don't be afraid to invite the person that you just love to be around, that it's just the person that you just want in your life. I had an invite the other day that was like that, and she hasn't joined me yet, but she's asked a lot of really good questions, and I think that it's still in her mind. I was like, I know we've never worked together before, and we've never even talked about this, but I just think you're awesome. And I think that the rest of the world would benefit from what you have to offer. And it's okay to invite them that way. So whoever it is, and this is how I talk to people about lists in general, whether it's challenge invites or coach invites or whatever, as we're talking, anyone who pops into your head needs to be written down. And you may or may not invite that person to coaching. So don't not write him down because you're like, oh, I'm never inviting that person. That's my dad. I'm never inviting him, or whatever. Put their name down anyway, because that person might just need a text from you saying you're thinking about them. That person might just need a little bit of a warm fuzzy, but they came to your mind for a reason. Or they might need to be blessed by your newly peaceful, confident self. Or they might need to be invited to your team. Really. But whoever it is that pops into your head at all, even just for a flash, put their name down, because they popped into your head for a reason. They came to your mind because they need something, and you have something that they need, because they popped into your head, not into my head. Your person didn't come to my mind. So you have something that they need, and you have to believe that. You have to choose to believe that even when you don't feel it. Because we're ladies and we like to do all the feeling. And that's not bad. Like, that's a blessing. That's a gift that we were given as part of our creation. But we need to remind ourselves that we are more than our feelings. And you need to write their names down because you have something that they need. Okay. I think that's my part, Kelly. Did I forget anything we talked about? Because we're going to transition into talking about the nitty gritty.
Yeah, so this is a little call to action for you guys, and I don't want to keep us on super late, so I'm going to give you some call to actions to do. So if you have a pen, you want to write this down. If not, re-listen to the recording and you can write this down. But the purpose of this call tonight was because I think that these two pieces matter with recruiting. It matters, a lot of times when I first started, I hated using the words prospect, sales, and recruiting. I did, because to me it felt icky. But it was really my mindset around it, when actually Sarah just framed it perfectly. Like, you can call it recruiting, you can call it inviting, you can call it offering the coffee, you can call it offering the gift, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But the beauty of it is this business is a gift. And so over the last few weeks, we've had a lot of things that we'll ask you to do or recommend, like the before, now, and going, or writing a mission statement, or why this is important to you. The reason for those things is because that's what gets your mindset to reflect and defeat the inner mean girl or the ego, So if you're feeling imposter syndrome, the first step of this call was to flip the light switch on in your haunted house. And I hope that we did that tonight. So the first step for you tonight is to recognize your inner mean girl now. Whatever she is saying now, you need to write it down. You need to recognize it. And then you need to tell it the truth. So that's the first step. And when you do that, what I find is I get a pump of energy because I'm excited. Then you're going to go to those names you just thought of and you wrote down, and you're going to say to them whatever you feel called to say. If it's someone you talk to regularly and you want them on your team, you can send them a message like Sarah said. Like, I have a girl that just popped. I wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 names down. 7 popped in. Actually, before you even said that, I wrote this one name and stuck it up here because she just popped in my mind. And I know exactly, like, I love their energy. I love how they share and they're encouraging. They're the exact kind of person that I want in this family, and where we're going is such a positive direction if they ever consider doing what I do as a coach. That's it. And a lot of times they'll be like, well, I don't know what you do as a coach. Well, I'm really excited. We have this opportunity on the 29th where we're leading a webinar, and I'd love to have you as a guest. So you can come and listen, and then we could follow up and chat over the phone and hear what you liked about it and what questions you have. That's it. Simple. No word vomit. Like, no, let me tell you all the ins and outs and perks. No sending them a 10-minute video. No, nothing. You just ask and you tell them why. Tell them why. Because I see you in the challenge group rocking it, and I know you could help so many people. And part of my mission of my team is to bring freedom to families and marriages, and I'd love for you to be a part of it. Tell them a little snippet of your mission, and that's the step one is to name your mean girl, or name your imposter syndrome that's going on right now. Call it out and tell it the truth. And then the second part is to send the invites. And what I want us to do is I'm going to post a thread in the team page that's going to say, something about inviting. I'll think of something quippy when I hop off here. And I want you to post the names of the people that you're inviting to the call. And I want you to write next to the name why you're inviting them. Because you know why. Don't doubt it. And it's not icky. And you're going to have people that say no for a really long time. And you're going to have people that don't understand. I have a girl I've been inviting for 3 years. She just doesn't get it yet. And then you know what else is going to happen? You're going to invite people for a season, and then you're going to go back to their name and be like, I don't even really want you on my team. And that's okay too, because there's no scarcity. You don't have to have a desperate attitude. I had like 5 names I took off my list this week because I'm like, it's been a long time and I can't chase this person anymore and I can't want it for them anymore. So I took them off my list. I used to never take anyone off my list. I had like 5,000 names, and it doesn't mean I don't care about them, but I want you to think about that. Now, if you're not at a place where you're building your team, I want you to think about offering the gift of our challenge group, offering the gift of the free group, if that's the best step for you. None of these steps there are less than the other. Sarah made a good point. Furthering the mission of your business, if you're a business builder, recruiting is an important aspect of that. But if you're a hobby coach or you're here like just starting out, testing the waters, those are all valid. It's not like this, business builder, hobby coach, like it's this. Because we all equal team, and you matter whether you never make a sale or you make all the sales, you matter. So I just want that out, because I think that's another imposter syndrome is, well, I'm not as successful. So no, we want to help you reach your goal. But I'm going to tell you, when you have the courage to ask someone and that person says yes, you will happy dance. I still happy dance when people buy challenge packs or they sign up to coach. I like get all excited, and the nose, they burn a little. It's okay, but keep that record of right in front of you. Your mission has to be greater than worrying about the no. And like Sarah said with that ego, it's true. It's true. Like sometimes it feels like the world is going to end because of things. Yeah. Cycling is awesome. But your call to action, number 1, what is your imposter syndrome telling you? Tell it the truth. And post it in the team page. I'm not even going to put a thread. I just want you to post it. And then number 2 is I'm going to start a thread of invites that you sent. Just share the name and why, because I want us to pray for these names. If these people are supposed to be on our team, I want to pray for you and your courage to ask them, and their courage to say yes, and the beauty of that. Because y'all, I do believe this is a very mission-driven business. Our team is very mission-driven. And that means that it's not all just us. There is grace involved. I truly believe it. And that's almost why, like, every time I've ever had moments where I've never had a moment where I've said, I quit because I hate this. But I have had moments in my mind where I've thought, can I ever do this? Like, can I really do this? Can I? And that's a whole other call, because I'm asking myself the wrong question. But what I'm learning is that's the mean girl, because I just haven't seen it happen yet, but I actually see it in my head. I have a vision very clear. And if you don't have that yet, don't think, why can't I don't have my vision yet? Our mission is to embrace freedom, share truth, and inspire hope. And that is part of your mission too. Like even Sarah's purpose, it should flow, I would hope, out of the mission of the family. Like the mob, the family.
Well, and I think that it's you're planting that seed. It goes back to that confidence. Like you're inspiring hope in somebody when they didn't have it before. And that's why your confidence matters, because you're that first voice of belief maybe that they've ever heard.
Yeah.
You're going to run across people who have never had anyone speak belief to them. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot. And yes. Your confidence is the first seed of that belief in your life.
Yeah, for sure. So tonight we were going to actually work through some of the invites, but if you actually need help with an invite, you can send it to your coach. You can post it in the page, ask for feedback if you're nervous. But the main thing is I really want to turn the light on the mindset that might be preventing you, if you feel called to reach out your hand. And then I want to pray over the call that's going to be in a week and a half. And I want to pray over these names. And I want to do it every month, because I have been listening to Shelly too much lately, and she needs to go. I keep thinking of Kimberly Parnham calls her Felicia, but everybody has it. You're not alone. I know, because you can say bye, Felicia. I think that's so awesome. But let's pray. And like I said, I want you to post. I think if you guys share your imposter syndrome, you're going to actually find you're not alone. So there's a lot of light in that if you share that in the team page. And then I'll post a thread tonight for us to start sharing the names of the person and why, so that we can pray over this name. So let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this call. Lord, I am so grateful for this team and this season. Lord, this is a season of planting. We are planting many, many seeds as we head into fall. We have goals and dreams, Lord, and hopes for this, for our business, for our personal journey, for our marriage, for our future. All of us have different desires, God, and I ask that you would just help unify us in purpose, unify us in our mission, and help us to lift one another up and help us to point one another forward when we're struggling to see the truth. God, you have made us uniquely and purposefully and wonderfully and fearfully made to be free in knowing that we are loved. And I just pray that we can spread that truth to as many people as possible through this vehicle of health, wellness, and community. I pray for all of the coaches that are on our team and so much gratitude and thanksgiving for their yes. I pray for those that are nervous, Lord, that you would give them the virtue of courage, confidence, peace, patience, and discipline with their business. I pray that you would bless our families. I give Thanksgiving for the husbands and siblings that all help a little extra on these nights where we're on these calls. I pray, Lord, for a successful sneak peek, for a successful end of 2019, for you to put our fears to rest so that we can trust in you. And God, I'm just so grateful for the community here, the community in our challenge groups, and the many women and men that we will get to serve, and the ones that we already are able to serve. You are such a good and loving Father. Help us to never forget that, even in the storms and in the trials and in the days that feel like everything's wrong, Lord. I just pray that this community, we can build one another up and be hope, a light of hope for one another on those days. We offer all of these things in your most holy name. Amen. We should take a picture, otherwise this never happened. Hold on. One. Freedom Family Legacy is the hashtag, in case. 1, 2, 3, smile. Thank you, guys. Y'all made my night. Seriously, had a rough evening. Turned my night around. So blessed by y'all. Sarah, thank you so much. You were amazing. Have a good night, everybody.